I got kicked out of the bar, guys. Sorry.
Oh, did you eat
Well,
all the food first?
let's not act
Yeah,
like that was the first time.
no, no. In fact, Enrique came by towards the end because we had to do a little shoot for Chicago Food to Go, and they gave us like all the pizzas. So our refrigerator, we're just like all weekend, we're just eating Trader Todd stuff. And I've also been kicked out of the second bedroom. Enrique's using it for work right now. So here I am in the family room joining you this afternoon.
Hey, change of scenery is always good.
We
Oh,
don't need
I've
to
never been
explain
in.
that, but I did.
Yeah, I've
What's that,
never been
Felipe?
in your family room. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I got a TV, I got a chair, and this piece of artwork that my mom found. She found this at Home Goods when she. This is like my gift for moving in here a couple years
Oh,
ago, and it was priced too high, so my mom kept hiding it further and further back in the artwork until it was marked down to $99.
That's amazing.
okay. Only a retired person has that kind of time.
Exactly. Like back
Awesome.
before all this Home Goods was just on my mom's like probably round robin of trips she did around Oak Brook or Yorktown or wherever the heck she does her shopping.
Yeah, I
And
love
yeah,
it.
she's retired. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a
it's
home goods
gorgeous.
person, so I love it. I aspire to that life. I love home
All you
goods.
got to do is hide things deeper and deeper in the inventory until they get marked down, and that's how you get deals. She's gonna be so mad I shared that.
Way
Okay,
to
let's
go,
talk about your
Martha.
weather forecast here this afternoon. Really shaping up to be a great day. It's been a nice day across the Chicagoland area here today. A lot of sunshine, a few passing clouds here or there. Just kind of a picturesque day across the Chicagoland area. The good news is the dew points aren't too bad. Just checking right now, 52 is the dew point. That's pretty darn low for the end of June here. That's comfortable. Temperature at 81 degrees at O'Hare last check. We're probably on our way to 85. I think at O'Hare we'll warm up a couple more degrees, but just really comfortable. We turn the humidity up a couple dials tomorrow, and we're going to keep on cranking that up over the next 7 days. It's going to make a real insecure atmosphere tomorrow, which is going to lead to some afternoon storms. Some could be strong. So as you're making those Friday night plans on the patios, maybe get one of those tables that are inside now that 25% of the inside capacity is allowed tomorrow because you're going to have some rain on and off. Saturday we cool down just a little bit, mid 80s, but we keep the humidity up, so it's going to feel muggy here pretty much the rest of these 7 days, including some really muggy temperatures and conditions into early next week with some more storms.
Well, you knew it had to happen, right? It's summertime.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, let's jump right into our first guest for this 2 o'clock hour. Tammy Lang is joining us. She is the owner, the founder of Save the Girls. It's a really cool product owned by a woman, a female-owned business. It's touchscreen purses, so girls, women can access their phone from the outside.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Good
thanks so
morning,
much for
or good
joining us,
afternoon,
Tammy.
Tammy.
Hi, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, tell us where this idea came from.
Okay, so I'm an Illinois company, right?
Yep.
They're in Illinois. So all in the same week, I had two daughters lose their iPhones. One was out on a trail. She lost all her senior pictures, prom pictures, everything gone. And my other daughter was helping us look for her phone, and she washed her phone in her jeans. So two iPhones
Ugh.
were gone the same week. Yeah, I wasn't a very happy mom at that moment. And so I was telling my sister-in-law about this, and my sister-in-law said, I never lose my phone. And she pulls her phone out of her bra, and she had breast cancer.
Oh,
And yeah, that's where I'm like, okay, there's got to be something better. And literally within like 2 days, we were canoeing, and I could text through a waterproof bag. And I'm like, wait a minute, if you can text through a waterproof bag, why can't you just text? I have to do my Face ID. Why can't you just text the backside of your purse? And then that way your phone can always be accessible. You leave your case on, and then literally I just always walk around with my phone on me now. It's so lightweight that you just can wear it. And then it's germ free. So you don't like put it on countertops and in restaurants and things like that. And then it's just always, connected to you. And so that's why I came out with Save the Girls touchscreen purses. And we do donate 10% to breast cancer research, because honestly, without my sister-in-law tucking that phone in her bra and having breast cancer, I would have never done this. But it all went really fast for me. I was not a purse designer. I had worked in marketing my whole life doing prepackaged sandwiches with another Illinois company, which was Lanchar Sandwiches, now owned by Tyson. And so I had done marketing, but never purses. but I just thought it was a great idea. And I put my idea out on an international bid site, and I had 17 factories bid on me the next day.
Oh,
So yeah,
Wow.
that's how Save the Girls got started.
wow.
Oh my
And well, and
gosh.
now, I mean, look at how important this is in the time of COVID when you don't want to be touching your phone. I mean, that's amazing.
No, I mean, it's like, it's terrible. COVID is absolutely terrible, but it is good timing for a product like this, because when people go to the grocery store, I've been reading about people like writing down their groceries instead of putting it on their phone.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, no, yeah, you don't want to walk around like this, well, I can do it, like this with your phone, because the germs are on your hand from opening things. So now you just leave it in here, and then you can sanitize your hands before you pull your phone out. I mean, you can still use this, but at least it's not getting on your phone.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I always thought with this, with everything that's going on with COVID. They were telling us to wear gloves. I'm like, oh man, people keep going into their bag and pulling out the phone and using it. So it's like everything you touch with your gloves has now gone in your bag and it's on your phone. So at least with this, you may need to disinfect the outside of your bag, but
Mhm.
at least the germs aren't on the inside like that.
And you take your phone. So if you sanitize your hands, then you put your phone to your ear, but you wouldn't want to put your phone to your ear after you've been holding it without your hands clean, because then it's just putting everything on your face, which we don't want.
Mhm.
Tammy, I want to
Yeah.
know about that journey from an idea to actually happening. Obviously, you've had some experience in the business world, but like, how do you take an idea and go, okay, I need to actually devote time and energy and make this happen?
It literally, for me, it was 6 weeks. Like my husband and I, we had a 1 year like safety net, and that was it. So if we were going to do this, we had put everything in, but I had 1 year to either make it work or go back and find a new job. So it was
Right.
really scary. But I used an international bid site. Have you heard of Alibaba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put it on Alibaba.com. And I mean, it was honestly, when I first did it, it was a joke. I mean, I wasn't thinking that I would do this full time. But then when I got back, I literally had 17 factories bid on me and I did a design just like this. Let me see, it's not back there, but it's similar to this with the toggle. That was my first one, because I travel a lot and stuff. I wanted always a place for my passport, and just all my things to just be right inside like this. So anyway, I did this purse first. And I mean, it was just, honestly, it was kind of like a joke, like, I'll just make my own, And then when I got the bid, I thought, oh my gosh, I can do this. So I did some research just using Facebook and my friend base to see, is this something other people want? What price points do they want? And things like that. And then I actually flew overseas by myself and interviewed.
Wow.
I went to almost all 16 factories to pick my factories. And then I picked factories that already had name brand items that are throughout the United States. So like all the factories that I used were all proven with other brands here in the US. And,
Tammy,
and so
this
that
sounds
worked.
like a book.
Yeah.
It was a little crazy on that plane by myself. I will admit, I didn't speak the language and I wasn't sure. Like you can't do Google. There was no Google, it's outlawed. So yeah, it's hard to get around without Google.
I
Yes.
don't even want to imagine.
No.
There's no food near me. Find food near me. There's none of
So
that.
what's the price point like for these bags?
So I made them all reasonable. I wanted it to be something that everybody could wear. So they're between $28 and $59. So everything's $59 or less. So
What about the styles? Did you have to consult with people on how to make the stylish to make them look cool? Because obviously, if it doesn't look cute, no one's gonna wear them.
So, well, one, I am a woman and I like things to be very convenient. So I just thought, what are things that I need that make things convenient? So one of my first purses was here. So I made some eyeglass purses because I'm over 50, so I have to wear glasses now. So that way your glasses can go in and then touchscreen back. And then of course, a full wallet. So I just kind of try to do things that I wanted. And then I upgraded to a bigger purse because people all want a little bit of space. And so everything has a strap and everything, but this has a really big, so this can wear your big old eyeglasses for summer type of purse. And then like this. So I just tried to design things that I thought had a lot of function. I always put a minimum of 3 credit card slots. And each purse, because I always carry credit cards or use my debit card to pay for things, I try to put a change pocket in almost all of them, or at least a little secret cash pocket so that the cash doesn't go to the bottom of the purse. So I just kind of think of all that. I will admit to you guys, since you're my local Illinois, I bought a book like how to build a purse for dummies. And I read that book. So,
I love it.
I mean, it didn't say for dummies in the book, but it pretty much was. And then I went to that so that I knew what a gusset was, and I knew how to design purses. And then I actually go and I do it all myself. So I go to the material factories and
Wow.
I spec all the products myself, and actually stay there and help build the purse until the first sample runs done, and then I come back home. So I'm gone usually a lot, but actually, obviously with COVID, there's no traveling, so I've had to go to a digital version of design. So I'm kind of up in my game there, but yeah. So that's
Amy
how we
needs the larger one because she has to fit all her money in there.
Well,
Yeah.
or diapers.
Yeah.
oh, diapers.
I thought she was gonna say her flask, but
That too.
Actually, a lot of my moms with diapers, they use this little one
Yeah.
because it just carries their phone and a couple credit cards, and then they still have because you always carry your big diaper bag.
Yeah.
It's like a really cute, stylish little chain to it. I'll show you.
And then I see the one that's like kind of shaped like an animal. Is that more so for younger kids, or it's just a cute little design?
I have some really cute ones. I actually have a lot of fun designing purses. Like I'm 52 now and I feel like I'm back in like kindergarten. I get to make things, but anyway, I made these cute little foxes. I have some dogs and cats,
Oh, cute.
things like that. A lot of kids have phones and then they're tapping them too. And so I have some cute little guys.
Yeah.
I have a lot of different styles. So
Amy, my purse, my bag is so big. I want to take that purse and put it inside my normal purse.
I don't carry a purse at all. I just carry my phone and I've got the wallet in the back because I don't like a lot of stuff, but I like not having to touch it.
Well, there's two kinds of people in this world.
there are. And I do though have, if you like to just carry your things, I do have purses that actually have like little clutch straps. So this comes with a clutch and a normal strap. And then this one, another story, Lori Grenier, who's from Shark Tank, she heard about my products. And so she helped start selling some of our Save the Girls purses, which is super exciting. And she loves this purse. See, the phone just goes on the outside then.
Yeah.
Oh,
That one's a little jazzy. And I love how the straps are optional.
Yes.
Mhm.
Definitely do optional straps. See, it has just a little clutch strap, or you can also little bit of glitz to this one too on the bottom.
Yeah,
and
no,
it
that's
has a
cute.
regular strap. So anyway,
that can
really
go from
cute.
day to night.
Yes, from day to night.
the problem is, and I say this no one ever thinks about the men in this world.
No one does ever.
Like anything in the works, maybe in the future about, I don't know, I wouldn't wear a purse, but I do wear like a computer bag sometimes or something smaller. I don't know, any thoughts on designing for men, or is it just for women right now? Or
no, I've trademarked a man name, and quite frankly, this is some really sad news for me. I won't tell you who, but there was a Kansas City chief, and he was a running back. I probably shouldn't tell you that, but anyway, he wanted to go in with me on a men's line, and we just have grown so fast on the women's line that I haven't gotten it out yet. But I'm so sad that I didn't have it out for the Super Bowl, because I kind of thought they might make it the Super Bowl. It's been about 1.5 years in the works with him, but I will have a men's line, and it is amazing. Like I am almost more excited about that than even Save the Girls. It's a really cool line, but I have to wait. I mean, we've obviously been hit with COVID and a million other things at us. So we're working through all that, but I will have a men's line for you. Just give me a little bit more time.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing this off. We should mention that it looks like on the sign behind you, it says 10% off, or 10% of the proceeds go to benefit breast cancer research. Is that true?
It does. And I think that we just had a coupon code for your listeners. They put in JAM, JAM 25. They will get 25% off their orders.
Okay, now.
Yeah. And I want to
let's
tell
get-
you one other thing, if I can. So just like with protective, whatever, I came out with medical masks for the medical people right when it happened. And now I've come out with a decorative scarf.
Of
I like
course you
those.
did. Look at you.
So, hey. So that way you can always look good. I like to always do things a little different than everybody else. And so this is my new little mask that we came out with. So
Yeah.
that
That's
you
cute.
can still look good and you can throw your mask up and go down and go to town. So
I love
Right.
it.
This
Yeah.
I
is
need
what we
your
call an
ambition.
entrepreneur, folks.
Right?
Yeah. All right, let's
Yeah,
get the
well,
information up on the screen for where people can find out all of these things. And Save the Girls, Save the Girls STG on Facebook, Instagram, and SaveTheGirls.com. Thanks so
yeah,
much.
and if they could like us, we would love it. We're an Illinois-based company, and we just love having our Illinois family support us. So thank you so much. I appreciate the time with you too. Thank you.
Good job,
Thanks,
Tammy.
Tammy.
Thank you. Oh, good job. Love
M25 on the code there.
On the code.
Yeah. Let's bring in Brandon Pope because he has some information to share that directly affects the Chicago community and our children who live here. Certainly an important update. Brandon, hey.
Hey, press conference actually wrapping up now with Mayor Lori Lightfoot with this huge effort. It's called Chicago Connected. It's a $50 million program over 4 years. It's going to provide free high-speed internet access to 100,000 CPS kids. The focus will be on the south and west sides of the city. Lightfoot calling internet access the most powerful thing that we have and says that COVID-19 has revealed the disparity in web access and the real digital divide. She calls it one of the largest efforts in the country and hopes other cities actually follow this. How is it being paid for? Philanthropist Ken Griffin is a big part of this effort. The first 2 years are going to be majority funded through philanthropic donations. The United Way, the Obamas all chipping in money. $5 million in CARES Act funding is also going to be part of that as well. And CPS is going to foot the bill for the remaining 2 years of the program. The hope is to expand it beyond those 4 years, but we will see what happens. And the outreach to families to get them signed up for this program begins next week. But definitely some welcome news for people who need internet access more than ever right now.
This is incredible. I mean, internet access is no longer a luxury. You need that to be able to function in the world and to keep up with everybody else. I mean, we're talking about everything from applying to jobs and getting information about COVID to educating our babies. So this is something that is totally needed.
Yeah, it's a human right. And you think about libraries were closed for the majority of our stay-at-home order. People's often come back with the digital access as well. They can just go to a library and leave the computers over there. If they're closed, what do you do?
Good point.
Yeah, you need internet access. So this is pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate
Brandon.
that. I'm
See you
looking
guys.
to see how soon that's going to all be implemented. We'll be waiting for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. What do we have coming up?
Working from home, fun and difficulties, everybody.
17.
Yes.
Let's bring in two members of our team. They typically work behind the scenes, but they have a little bit to share with a unique perspective of what's been going on at home because they are our working moms here at the Jam. And so it is good to see you guys in front of the camera. Hey, ladies.
Hi.
We don't know.
They're already rolling their eyes at us.
Like,
Yes, thanks for being here, ladies. So you guys have been at home. Give us the rundown. Well, we know the rundown, but give us what your home situation has been like. Share that with us.
Leslie, you go for, or yeah. I was just picking one of you so you didn't just sit there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Melissa. You can start us off.
Yeah, so kindergarten school is really hard to do, especially while trying to work full time. That was probably one of the greatest challenges. Kindergarten math is, I didn't realize how hard that was going to be. But it was just always trying to find a rhythm. And every time that I felt like we had a rhythm, it just got disrupted somehow. And it's just, the struggle is still continuing now that, there is no school. And if you were to ask me like, hey, where's your son? He's in the living room playing Fortnite. Like he's becoming a gamer. So that's what's happening now in this household.
Welcome to my world.
I know. And you guys, you have one right now. I'm thinking about the parents with multiples.
Well, yeah. And so Leslie, let's see. So Melissa's a 5-year-old. Leslie has a 3-year-old. So you guys both have the little guys too, which I feel like makes it even harder because you have to be with them and show them how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, it's been so challenging. And I feel like I'm driving her with like cookies and popsicles like every day to just give me like 5 minutes to send out an email or like, please do not crash this Zoom or pre-interview. Like I'm begging you. I beg her every day. I think it's a joke to her now. Like, let's see how much she can stress me out. I've had her, I'll be doing pre-interviews with like the couch concerts, and she'll be like, Mommy, they don't sound good. Let's get somebody else. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah. So
Well,
I-
and I will say, the threes, terrible twos really don't exist. It's terrible threes. I have two three-nagers in my house. They think they know everything. They're awful and they throw fits.
Yeah.
They're not awful, but you know what I mean.
yes, no, I agree.
I gotta ask, and I'll start with you, Melissa. Has it gotten any better? Like, do kids, once a routine kind of gets set and barriers are somewhat established, hey, when mommy's in this room, this is what's happening, do they listen over time? Has that been part of the goal of trying to get a little bit better?
Well, I apologize if you hear my husband talking to my son right now, going like, "What are you doing? You're still playing video games?" I'm live, Juan. So yeah, it's like going back. I'm sorry, I did get a little distracted. That's like I got into my mom zone right now.
That's
I'm so
exactly.
I'm just saying,
all of us.
do they get better? Do routines set in eventually, or is it just still every day is a new battle?
Every day is a new battle, because like some days are better than others. There's just times where it's like, yeah, we got this. Like he went to sleep on time. He woke up early. And then the next day it's like, you're up at midnight. You're waking up at noon. I have a college student. Like he's like living his best life right now, I guess is like the best way to say it. But I think the challenge is too, is that he's 5, and what I feel like I have a little bit of mom guilt too at the same time, right? Because like when a child is 5 and they're in school, there's so much stuff that they should be learning. Like I feel like, hey, when we wake up, let's read a book. That hasn't happened. And there's moments where I feel like, am I holding him behind because I am putting work first and I'm not putting his school first? And it's a balancing act for myself as well, to make sure that I don't get so overwhelmed, because it's easy, and dads are one thing, but moms are another. And so it's like, there is a bit of mom guilt there. But I don't know. I always just try to say, well, this is my situation, but I know someone else probably has it a little bit worse than I do, because I only have one. And I feel bad, just like you said, Felicia, with parents who have multiple. Like I mean, I have 2 dogs and the kid, and that.
It's
Leslie, any routine in your house? Has it gotten better or no?
I mean, she's 3. She already ran the house before the pandemic. So now she really thinks she runs the house because I'm home every day. So she thinks that, oh, mommy's home again today. So we are playing. We're going to do what I want to do. We're going to play dress up. And she doesn't take no for an answer. So I have really learned to give myself just grace, because if not, I would probably lose it, because it's just the juggling act. It just doesn't get easier. But now I'm just a little bit more graceful on myself. Before, when we first started, I'd be like, get out the Zoom, be quiet, like don't do this. And I'm like, nope, she is here. She's here.
Do you guys have nappers yet? I mean, at 3, I feel like they start to drop them somewhat.
No, since the pandemic, the girl does not sleep like at all. And she'll go to bed at 1 a.m. and then she'll wake up at like 11 or noon, and I'll let her sleep, because then that way I can get as much as I can done.
Yeah.
I find myself working between like 1 a.m. and like 3 a.m. Then I'll take a nap and then I'll get back up so I can work while she's still asleep. But that's exhausting.
Yeah, I just admire you ladies so much. I mean, I think that we need to do a better job of talking about being working moms and what that's like and what our experiences are like. And I think men need to be a part of that conversation as well, at home as well as, in the office. Obviously, that's your first and main priority, being a mom. I'm curious as to where, because I know you guys have loving husbands that are supportive. I'm curious to where they're at in all of this and how that's been going on at home. Have they been doing a little bit more to help?
So I would say when it was the schooling stuff, that was all me. So I mean, I would be on my tablet because my son had to use the laptop. And so I would say like education is me, taking care of him until about 4-ish is me. My husband, like he put his office upstairs in the bedroom. And so, girl, I barely see him. Like he comes down to the community kitchen, like here or there, just for like a snag.
Yeah, the lunchroom.
Yeah.
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 And then it's not until like once he's done, I tell him, okay, it's your turn. Like I'm exhausted. I'm trying to work and do all this at the same time. But he's got like, you know, he does the laundry now. I can't say like every time he folds the clothes, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of the
yeah.
interesting things is like when I think of work from home, I don't mind working at home. I had another job before this where I did do some work from home, but it's also like my life. I don't need to go to the studio to like segregate my life between work and playtime or whatever the case may be, because I don't have other, I mean, I have Enrique here, but he's working too. Like I don't have like family members crawling all over me. So I thought when the work from home thing happened, it'd be like, oh, this is way easier for parents because they get to just be there. But do you guys wish that you still you had that go away time for those 7, 8, 9 hours and then you had that divide? Or is there some silver lining about being able to be home all day?
I have not found the silver lining yet. I mean, maybe the silver lining is that I see her more. I think it drags my work day on longer because I'm like either stopping or I don't feel like I can fully focus on one or the other. It's like if I take my eyes off of her, she is into something, or if I have missed so many Zoom meetings. so I don't know.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
I mean, the beauty about working from home is that, you know, our alarms are not going off at 3:30 a.m. right now. And so like, that is something I don't miss like at all. There is a bit of silver lining, right? Because it's like, that's one of the things, yeah, we're all in the same house, but then things kind of start blending where, you know, the living room, at one point, the living room was the classroom, the office, the playroom. And so I had to come to the back porch with the dogs because they're just a little bit more calmer and I'm like away from the chaos. But like there is some benefits in this. And I guess like the difference between Leslie and I is that, you know, she does have a 3-year-old, and the 3 and a 5-year-old, especially boy and girl, there is like that age difference. And you know, a 5-year-old is a little bit more like, especially when he's the only child, like he knows how to just have fun by himself. But with gaming, yo, God bless gaming. Like that is my new babysitter.
Careful you say that. There is the bane of my existence now because it's a constant battle. Constant. As a matter of fact, he just up on my door because we've had to like have sit downs and we've had to put all these restrictions on all of his electronics because he will do it all the time now if we let him.
And I think too, like with all this happening, we've become closer with our neighbors, and we have a lot of kids that we notice that are all the same age. So as soon as I'm done with work, it's open the doors and all the kids come running out. And so, you know, and he needed that. Like he missed that so much without being in school, and kids need that socializing.
Yep.
And that he's able to do it to the kids. It's like it gets them tired faster. But you know, it just helps them just socially, verbally, everything. And so, yeah, God bless. We got a lot of kids around here too.
Yes. Okay. I got to tell y'all, you are scaring me. You know, I'm a young wife that dreams of being a mom. You're scaring me.
Well, there's nothing to be scared about. Like you figure it out. At the end of the day, it's like you go into mom mode and everything somehow just comes into like
fits way in. Yeah. And you give yourself grace. As long as you give yourself grace, and the next day will be better than the last, and the next hour will be better than the last hour. So
and this is unprecedented. Like you have a pandemic, Felicia. It'll be different when like worlds open back up and you're normal again.
Okay.
So a lot of us are going to be working from home for a foreseeable future, like people watching this right now. So what I want to know is, because like, look, me and Felicia, you know, we both want to have kids one day, but we don't. So what is your advice to people, to people that have coworkers out there that have kids, maybe they don't, about ways that we can make your lives a little bit easier in this work from home scenario?
Yeah. How can we better support you, moms?
I mean, for me, that's really hard question to answer, because I take this as a challenge, and I just try to show that I can still do it, because there is that little like self confidence inside that I have to prove it to myself that I could do this. Because trust me, there's times where I'm like, I don't think I can be a working mom. Like this is not possible. But I would just say, if you see
Like,
us
should we
drinking a
stop
lot of
emailing at
margaritas-
night? Like little like tangible things that we can do to stop
Oh, we
invading.
just don't read those past a certain hour, so
Oh,
don't
okay.
worry about it. Send them all you want.
and that like we have to learn how to shut things off. But I was just gonna say, if you see me sipping like 1 or 2 margaritas, just know like, oh, homegirl is probably a little stressed out right now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the best thing is just to be understanding, and I think all of you are really supportive. You never make me feel bad if Taylor is in a Zoom or whatnot. So I just feel like the more people don't, I think because moms get a little bit of sensitive too, the more those out there, not that you guys do that, because but not cracking jokes like, oh gosh, your child again, like those type of things.
Okay.
I have friends that are moms that are like, I get anxiety every time I am called to a meeting because I know they're going to make a comment or they're going to say that they're worried that my background's too loud. So, but I don't think anyone here does that. But for those out there in the world that
And
do
that's
that,
good to
so
know
they're-
because people even make jokes or comments not trying to be mean. They think they're trying to make it a little bit
Light of it.
Maybe it is best just to ignore it and be like, hey, this is the new reality. We don't have to comment on every time there's a child in the background.
Yeah. And the book that I'm reading about now encourages women to speak up and be more vocal about whether or not they're struggling or if it's a hard day or, hey, my kid's sick. This is going to be late. This assignment is going to be late. And I just think that's so important for women to be vocal about what they need from their workplace and to try to provide that grace. Because Melissa, you were just talking about how your ego, because you're such a great worker, a hard worker, you want to show up 100%, but you can't be 100% of the time in both areas of your life. So I think it's so important for women to just be vocal about what they're going through, what they're experiencing, not only at work, but also at home with their partners too.
And it's also, it's also just remember, we have a lot of single moms out there. We have a lot of single dads. So
Girl.
you have to, know too that they have a different situation. And so it's just like, just be understanding to parents in general, because just like you guys, like or I shouldn't say you guys, but for the singles, like we're also trying to figure things out, and we're all on the same boat together. And so it's just like, if you just see someone's having a bad day, understand it's just probably more home, and home is work.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like it's just hard to separate.
Yeah.
I don't have the authority to do this, but I'm giving both of you the rest of the day off. There we go.
Yeah, I'm taking it, John. I'm gonna take it.
Don said it. You heard it, everyone.
4 minutes in the day, guys.
Yeah. Last half hour.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And thanks for all your hard work, really.
Those are our producer queens.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. I think people that watch this, I don't think they realize quite how many people behind the scenes are working their butts off to try and make this happen, make the show happen when we're in studio. And anything we get to say and do is only because they all do such good work. So thank you, guys.
You said it, John.
All right. Let's pivot a little bit, but still keeping to the conversation of kids, right? In wake of the George Floyd and so many horrific acts and the reaction to it, I think it's so important to be able to teach kids in some way about what racism is and how to do it. And what better way than having an author in Jelani Memory joining us now, father himself and author of a book. Jelani, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
So I was reading your bio and I love the line that you're an entrepreneur, a thinker, and a constant learner, but I love that you open yourself up that way, that even though you're an author of this book, that you look at the world as a place to even, at your age as a parent, you can still learn something too and pass it on.
Yeah, absolutely. I have 6 kids and I spend more time being a dad than anything else. And I want them to be creative, curious. I want them to explore the world around them. And what better way to model that than to do that myself?
Wait a second, you said 6?
6.
As in the number that comes after 5 and the one before 7. Wow.
6
Kudos
kids,
to you.
yeah.
What are their ages?
1, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 16.
Whoa.
I'm impressed you know all those numbers.
And what are their names? I'm going to test you.
Oh, whoa, slow down.
Yeah.
Let's see. Solomon, Titus, Ella, Joy, Grace, and Hope.
Oh,
That's
I love
6.
that.
Let's count.
So let's talk about the book. A kid's book about racism. What inspired you to write it, and what's it all about?
Yeah, so I wrote it back in 2018 as a personal project for my own kids. We were already having conversations about race, culture, color, and specifically racism. And I wanted a way to keep that conversation going. And what better way than to make a book for my own kids? So I wrote it, I designed it, and I printed all of one copy and let my kids have it. And they thought it was super cool. But when I showed it to other parents, something really remarkable happened. Their eyes lit up, and it was sort of this shock and awe and interest. And they would always ask me the same thing: "Can I have a copy of this for my own kids?" And I thought, huh. And so that led me down the path of actually starting a whole company, not just around my book, but other books on hard, challenging, important, empowering topics for kids, as a way for grown-ups and parents to start those conversations in a meaningful way.
Well, and I love this too, because I think what you're saying too is so true. Starting the conversation is hard because if a kid doesn't ask you, there's always this in your head: how much do I tell them? At what age do I tell them? What do they need to know? What do they not need to know? And so having it laid out in a book, especially if it's a story that they can grasp onto, which is how they usually grasp things in an early age, it's such a wonderful back and forth afterwards.
Exactly. And that's the number one hope for our books, is not that it ends the conversation, but that it starts the conversation. We don't want them to be conversation enders. We want them to be starters. And we get the most incredible stories back from our customers about the amazing, thoughtful, creative conversations that kids have with their parents after they read one of our books, which is everything that we've hoped for.
How old are the books geared for? Sorry, it's Felicia.
Yeah, that was my question. What's the age range?
Yeah, so we really target 5 to 9, with 7-year-olds being sort of the core target. And there's a big reason why. By 5, kids have typically started school, which means they're having experiences outside of the home with classmates and sports. And by 9, they're still often reading with their parents, but there's a phenomenon called the decline by 9, which is if kids haven't learned how to love to read by that point, they often drop off pretty tremendously. And then once you get to 10, 11, 12, look, I've got a few of those myself. They don't want to listen to you in some of the same ways that they typically would. And so we wanted to capture kids at a young age in that sort of sweet spot where they're typically reading at nighttime and during the day with a parent as a special time.
I love that. Because I have a 10-year-old and he is, I mean, it's a force to get him to read now. It's not his thing. So I love that age range.
Yeah, I got to ask about the book itself, because obviously you probably identify what racism is, because I mean, first of all, a lot of adults could probably read this book too and learn a thing or two about what it is and how it manifests itself. But, kids are obviously emotional, but do you try and dive into like what the emotional hardships are for people who experience it? Can kids wrap their heads around that at that age?
Yeah, I think kids are remarkable in that way, that they can wrap their heads around it. So look, the ambition of my book is actually, it's a fairly low bar. It's to explain to kids what racism is, and it's to, in some sense, prove that it exists. That I think is sort of the fundamental starting point to start that conversation on racism. It doesn't dive into all sorts of things like microaggressions or systemic racism. There's a lot that it actually doesn't cover, but it's meant to be a framework to start that conversation so that parents have the same tools that kids do, as well as that language to dive into the topic.
I noticed that these are pretty, what someone would say mature topics. I saw money, I see a book about depression, a book about creativity. These are things that adults would typically not talk about with kids, especially young kids. You said age 5 to 9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you talk to a 5-year-old about depression?
Yeah, it turns out pretty easily. I have this firm belief that we as parents or adults, we treat our kids like they can't handle stuff. We're afraid that we're going to break them if somehow we use words like depression or anxiety or even words like death. And
we brush it off. We say, oh, they'll be okay. They'll get over it.
Or we say things like, I'll tell you when you're older, or you wouldn't understand, or we use euphemisms and we don't like to use the actual language about the thing. And I think it has more to do with our fear around specific topics and what to say or not to say, and this potential lack of education that we as parents even have on a lot of those issues. And so for our books, they come in as this breath of fresh air for kids, where kids go, finally somebody's talking to me, like I can handle this, like I can understand, because they really truly can. And the reality is very often they're bringing up these topics without having the language for them much earlier than we would expect them to. And literally, I was just on another call with a group in South Africa, and one of the psychologists on the call recommended, start these conversations around race and racism when kids are 2, when they're 3, when they're 4. Like, there really is no too early to introduce these things to them.
Just to explain a little bit more, because Felicia was reading off some of those other titles. You're made up of a team of authors under this umbrella of a kid's book about, right? How does that work?
Yeah, we're a really unusual company as a book publisher in that we sell primarily direct to our customers. And so I founded it. There are 4 of us on the team, but we partner with authors who have a deep personal experience with the topic, who oftentimes have education around that topic, and who can have a lot of wisdom and anecdotes about it. And we bring those folks in for a 1-day workshop, one at a time. We spend 5 hours together, and we actually co-write the book together. And it's very important for me that we go find untold stories by folks who typically don't get a chance to write a book. And that means more Black and brown authors, more female authors, more different gender representation, folks of different socioeconomic class. We have even some kids come in and help us write our books. And we want to provide a context, a place where more meaningful stories get to get written for kids on the most important topics.
This is so deep. I mean, I'm looking at a kid's book about disabilities, divorce, bullying, shame, empathy, mindfulness. Are these in school systems? I heard you mention South Africa. Have you gotten these into our school systems?
Yeah, the response has been tremendous from teachers and educators. I could never have imagined the books going to the places that they've gone, not just around the globe, but into classrooms and therapist offices, doctors' offices, social workers. It's been really, really incredible. And we keep hearing the same thing again and again about our books, which is thank you for boiling it down to the most simple terms, but not shying away from some of the difficult bits and pieces of the language and the ideas and the concepts. And I love hearing from teachers about the remarkable conversations and dialogues that happen with the students after they read one of our books.
Mm-hmm.
I love that there's some about the feeling. What empathy? What does that mean? Like, it's like, I'm not a parent. I know Amy, of course, is of 3 wonderful boys. I imagine sometimes you just think they pick things up along the way, but sometimes you actually have to have direct conversations about what these things mean, what they're feeling already, probably already inside, but have no way to put it into words.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, parents are busy. Parents are tired. Parents often are frazzled and frustrated. And we want to come along parents and help them have these conversations and start them. And what's cool is when you give a kid a language around a topic like empathy, now they start asking questions, but they're equipped with the language for that to have a meaningful dialogue with the grownups in their lives. And for us, equipping kids with that language we feel is so very important, because in a lot of ways they're ready to have the conversations, they just don't have the language.
So is 10 too late to be starting? Can I get my 10-year-old if I read with him to like turn a corner?
We're not sure there's a too late. And we found this remarkable thing, especially with teenagers, that if one of our books is sitting inside the house, out of curiosity, oftentimes they'll just pick it up and they'll go, that kind of explained that pretty well. And quite candidly, I hear from a lot of adults that get a lot out of our books, little helpful definitions. So I don't think there's a too late. Our hope is that our books sort of transcend being locked into that 5 to 9 age range.
That's great.
Yeah, I've got 2 uncles I can picture a couple books I can send to right before Thanksgiving. Have them do that and read a little bit about that book before we all sit down for turkey. I'll say that.
And it's just necessary. Like parenting is the one thing that there are no required classes. We go to school literally for everything else in this world. And then one of the most important jobs, being a parent, we don't have any schools or lessons for that. Nothing that's mandatory anyway.
Jelani, it's great. Thank you so much for stopping by. Congrats on not only this book, but working on that whole series with all those other authors. It's really cool.
Thank you. Pleasure to be on. And yeah, hope to do this again.
Next time.
Oh,
for sure.
thank you.
Let's get the information up on the screen for Jelani, and a book about a kid's book about racism is his, but then you can see the other titles there too on their Facebook, Instagram, and on their website, akidsbookabout.com.
Mm-hmm. That's so
All
cool.
right. It's just going to be me and you, Felicia. So I know Amy had to scoot around and do some other work out there. So she is off doing that. And we're going to welcome our next guest. Felicia, you know I'm excited about baseball.
I know you are. That's what I was going to say. You go ahead and take it and get us in here.
And I live close to the ballpark at Wrigley, but I have had a chance to go out to the ballpark in Rosemont and catch a couple Chicago Dogs games since they started about, I think, a year or two ago now at this point. And joining us is the manager of the Chicago Dogs, Butch Hobson. Skipper, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are y'all?
Hey.
Good. I was excited that not only are we having the Cubbies back, the White Sox back,
Yep.
there's nothing better than some minor league games, independent league games, and you guys are announcing that you're coming back too.
Yeah, we're scheduled to open the season July the 3rd down in Milwaukee, where we thought we would be playing all our home games, but we made the announcement, of course, yesterday that we will be playing our home games in this beautiful Impact Field with fans. So we're excited. It was an exciting announcement yesterday.
So have you guys already started training, right?
We start today.
Okay, today's
Yeah, we're actually we all got tested yesterday, so we're waiting for the results.
Okay.
So we kind of pushed our schedule back to start later this afternoon till hopefully we'll get the results of those tests this afternoon.
Well, how does it feel? I imagine everybody's just been kind of at home experiencing all of this like we have.
Well, most of us that have been in the game a long time we're not used to being at home in June.
Right.
Especially in Alabama when it's like 100 and the humidity's 100. But I was excited, we made this decision, or the league made this decision with, our owner, Sean Hunter, spearheading all of this to get baseball to be played. We had 6 teams that just didn't want to do it, but for obvious reasons. And 6 owners says, you know what, we need baseball. We're going to go out and, these guys are going to lose money and they know it, but they want baseball. And I think, there's a lot of little boys and little girls that are saying, why can't we go to a baseball game? So now, doing all the safety measures that we're doing is for the stadium and for the team. I mean, with the team right now, we're going through everything to make sure that these players are safe. Even me, I'm 68 years old and I got underlying health conditions. So I'm gonna make sure that, at most times, that I have my mask in the clubhouse and we're just make sure that we protect the players and the staff and everybody that's involved in the on-field part of the game.
What are some of the, I know because I've been paying attention obviously to what's happening with Major League Baseball, the union back and forth about sunflower seeds, stuff like that, that seems so innocuous and normal. And now that they're trying to ban them, are the guys going to take a little time? I imagine that's going to be a little adjustment period for the rules that you guys have.
Yeah, well, there's, no tobacco, no sunflower seeds, no spitting. That's going to be a different thing. So sometimes a natural thing on the baseball field is to spit, even if you're not chewing or doing seeds. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be interesting, and a lot of them are going to be tough for players. Like, when the infielder or the outfielder or the catcher gets the ball at the end of the inning, you always see them throw that ball to a little boy or girl in the stands. They love doing that. Can't do that.
Wow.
Pitcher goes to his fingers, licks his fingers. Then that ball gets taken out and it gets sterilized. Now I think Gaylord Perry might like that, but it's just how they're going to do it. But as far as this, the substance which it needs to be, I think there's other ways that we can sanitize the baseball. Walk off home run. There ain't no celebrating. There's not going to be any celebrating at home plate and a bucket of water poured on you. Those things are just not going to happen this year. But it's because we got to be safe. We know with everything that we've been going through in this country over the last few months that we got to do our part and stay safe and be safe for our fans and the people that we're in contact with. And we are trying to make sure that we do all the measures in the clubhouse. I separated my pitchers and position players, put them in 2 different clubhouses. We're checking the temperature at the door. As I say, we went and got, the guys had their physicals yesterday, but we all went and you know, got our COVID test. And like I said, I hopefully we'll get the results this afternoon. But we are going to have a night workout tonight. The pitchers need to throw to hitters. Hitters need to see some live arms because we don't have long before we start.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, well, all the players, but I was thinking about the young players. Just how do you keep this up, keep the momentum going? You know, people have been sitting at home, hopefully not just on the couch, but they haven't been in practice like they normally would have been.
Well, you're exactly right. But, you know, because they haven't been able to go to the parks because they've been closed, or the hitting facilities because they've been closed. I think, you know, in some areas, you know, some things opened up a little bit sooner as far as guys being able to get out. And, you know, it's a lot, it's so much different than just going to the weight room and lifting weights and even running on a treadmill. You know, that first time that hitter gets up there and he hits a ground ball, he's trying to beat a ball out to first base. If he hasn't had those spring games in order to get his legs ready for that, then, you know, some things, pulled hamstrings, pulled quads, things like that. So we have to make sure that as we're going through these 7 short days that we have, that we monitor, that we're not pushing it too hard. I push pretty hard in a normal world to get my team ready, but you know, I guess because I'm getting older, I back off a little bit, or I've mellowed out a little bit. But we got to make sure, because a lot of these players, you know, hope to go on somewhere else next year, you know, to get signed with an organization. So we just need to make sure that we, you know, aside from what we're doing to protect ourselves from COVID, to protect these players so that they, you know, aren't injured seriously, to where, you know, if they want to continue their career next year, they can.
I have been to the stadium a couple times, really enjoyed it. It's a great facility. It's almost like perfectly designed for these times. There's a lot of space to spread out. The concourses are wide. It's right off the expressway, so you're not like weaving around forever. And if you like planes like I do, I love plane watching, landing at O'Hare. I would have a hard time managing the game because I would just be looking up the whole time. So it's a great view. It's a great time. I got to ask you, though, honestly. So last year, you've been the manager since the team has been here.
This is our third year in experience. I've been the manager every year.
Wow.
One of my favorite Cubs players of all time, Carlos Zambrano, played for the team last year, which made a lot of headlines. He hit a lot. What was it like managing Carlos, Big Z?
It was awesome. I mean, awesome human being. I mean, we all knew him as a young player. When all of us were young, we were fiery and, you know, and probably, you know, a little more boisterous in a lot of ways, but he's a class act. He was really good for our young players because of who he was. I mean, we had, you know, in independent ball, you know, whatever your pregame snacks are, well, Carlos was bringing in P.F. Chang's every day for the guys. You know, it was a pleasure to be around him and to watch him go about his business and do his job. And he took it. You know, we had Faith Day here, and he stood up to all the fans that were in the ballpark and talked about his faith in Jesus Christ. He's quite a gentleman, and it was a pleasure. I miss him. You know, we missed each other the other day as far as a text. You know, because he's a quality gentleman that I'm really happy that I had a chance to manage Carlos.
That's great.
So what's going to happen? I know you mentioned that your COVID test results are supposed to come back. What's going to happen if somebody tests positive?
They'll be quarantined. You know, those are things that I can't give you, you know, the probably the best medical answers, but our doctors, we are going to get tested more, you know.
Okay. Will they still be able to play?
After their quarantine. I'm not, please don't take it that I know what I'm talking about, because I really can't tell you that answer.
Yeah, you don't know all the rules.
I hate to say, you know, I mean, it's quite possibly that, you know, if somebody tests positive and he goes to quarantine for 14 days, then he's not going to be here when start the season. So we have to make those decisions at that point in time.
Yeah,
safety. We're just got our fingers crossed, and good Lord that nobody tests positive, and we can, you know, be on the field this afternoon or this evening and start getting ready to open on July the 3rd. Home opener here at Impact Field, July the 7th. With fans at a minimal, whatever the capacity they're going to allow. And you were talking about the ballpark. I mean, I remember being at Shea Stadium, the Jets flying in and taking off, and it's like that here.
Yes.
The first year, the last game of the season, it was raining. We had a storm coming in. They diverted the plane's landing on this one runway, and I walked out of my locker room, which is in left center, and this jet was so low, I thought I went back in. I mean, I think he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
But it's a unique ballpark that is an open concept, and what Sean and Mayor Stevens did in their development and everything that they thought about what they wanted to do with this ballpark was really, really special. And it's a special place. Guys are going to enjoy playing.
Very family friendly, from the mascots to the games they play. It's a really great game day presentation too. I thoroughly enjoyed myself at the couple games. Plus, coming from the city, you got the Blue Line you can pop out if you want to do that, or Uber. It's really quite close for folks to go wherever they are. I can't let you go because obviously, I'm a huge baseball guy. You played in the American League in what was such a cool era, the 70s and the early 80s. First of all, what was your favorite park you played in? And then is there any of the National League parks that you wish you had a chance to play in?
Well, I'm going to have to say Fenway is my favorite to play in. I loved the old Comiskey ballpark, because Chicago, I love Chicago. It was one of my favorite places to go to on the road. I'm not going to say the old Yankee Stadium. It's kind of unique, but I would have to say that my favorite ballpark was to play in was Fenway, but I hit really good in Milwaukee. I don't know why. I don't know why. Milwaukee just happened to suit me for some reason. But yes, as far as the National League, I would have to say probably the old Three River Stadium. Yeah. I got to play in Dodger Stadium and back when I was with the Angels, and we did the Freeway Series before spring training, before the season started. But I think the old Three River Stadium.
Yeah. Those old ballparks.
Those are the good days. Those are the good, all the ballparks today are geared for hitters. If you think about it, except for what is Safeco in Seattle? Is it
Safeco and Petco Park in San Diego?
That's a big ballpark. So that's a pitcher's park. But the rest of them, I think a lot of us old guys wish we could hit in some of those parks.
Who'd you cheer for as a kid? Because you're from Alabama. You don't got a team there. Who'd you cheer for?
Well, I played football at Alabama. My dad played football at Alabama, so I'm pulling for Alabama.
No, but I mean, as a kid for a baseball team, who was your team?
Baltimore Orioles.
Okay.
I loved Brooks Robinson. Robinson. He was my favorite.
That's so cool. Sorry, Felicia. I could ask 20 questions in a row if I don't stop myself.
That's
Sorry.
all right.
I appreciate everyone's enthusiasm and excitement. I'm just happy to be here, John.
Yeah, so the season starts obviously in Milwaukee on the 4th and then home on the 7th, if I got those dates correct.
7th, 8th, and 9th, and then we go on the road for 3 to Fargo, which is one of those good old 10-hour bus rides, and those are other things we're working on right now because when you're on a bus, that's really close.
Yeah.
So we're working on a scenario for that. Then we're home for a while, and then we'll make a trip to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Sioux Falls in South Dakota, I think, yeah. And those are the only 2 places that we're going to be traveling this year.
That's great. I just, I set my seasonal clock to baseball. It's so out of whack here this year. The ivy's already green at Wrigley Field, but I don't care. We can get some baseball. We can see some live baseball. We can watch some baseball. That's all that matters to me.
Well, I feel the same way. And, I've been doing this since my 50th year right now. And I was at home going, I got tired of fishing. I got tired of fishing, and I love to fish, but I'm going, I don't want to pull in another fish.
I love it.
I can pull
and I'm glad that you guys are so excited and you're going to get to do what's in your heart.
Exactly. Well, that's, it's, everybody loves baseball. It's America's pastime. Yeah. And I'm glad. And as we're probably the first team, that's probably the first team to start, at this time of the summer. The major leagues are going to start later. A couple of the other independent leagues are starting later. So we're going to be under a lot of eyes as to, watching us. Okay, this is the protocol. How did they handle it? How did it work? A lot of things, and there's going to be some hiccups. Guys going to get excited and give somebody a fist pump or something, and that's a no-no. But there's going to be some hiccups, but we're going to get through it, and we every day are talking to the players. Okay, they're young, and we see what's going on with the younger people because they, go out and pack the bars and the restaurants, and their mindset isn't the same as mine. And so I've tried to explain, because I watch, I keep up with what's going on. For me to explain, looking at it from a 68-year-old man's point of view.
Yeah.
To keep your distances. Don't be taking off and going to downtown Chicago, which is a great place to go right now. You need to stay local because we've got to watch it.
Reminding everyone that this is real. This is
All right,
Exactly.
Coach. Thanks so much for stopping by. Good luck this year. Okay.
Thank y'all. Enjoy being with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll
Good
start again
luck.
soon.
All right. Thank you.
And again, they start on the 3rd in Milwaukee, and then they start at home on the 7th. Limited capacity, so make sure you go to the Chicago Dogs website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. You know where to get tickets, to chicagodogs.com. It really is a good time. Sounds like they're going to keep things safe and make sure everyone's okay, Felicia.
Yeah, like you said, we'll all be watching.
Yeah.
I like that we're starting to open back up. I want to get to the point because all those other little things are what makes baseball. Chewing your tobacco and the sunflower seeds. And of course, you always hear me talking about getting your hot dog and your beer at the game.
Yeah.
I just hope we get back to that at some point soon.
We will, boo-boo. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow at 11, you may know him from the Hit USA Network series Queen of the South, and movies like Spider-Man Homecoming, and now starring in HBO's Perry Mason. We got Hemke Madera joining us live.
And we're at 11:45. Actress Andrea Barber, aka Kimmy Gibbler, you guys, the next door neighbor. She's talking about growing up as a childhood star in Full House, the reboot Fuller House. And this is the 5th and final season. It was just released on Netflix. And we're going to also talk about her book, Full Circle, From Hollywood to Real Life and Back Again, and motherhood and what she's been doing in quarantine. Clearly, we're going to be chatting about it all.
Our producer, Tina, has already messaged me 6 times about Kimmy Gibbler coming on the show. So
It's exciting. It's huge.
Yes. We'll see you tomorrow.